Hello and welcome to the premiere of my brand new podcast, I Want You to Go Away. I'm Jo Shaler. I've been working in travel for 30 odd years and have been an independent travel expert and owner at Jo Shaler Holidays for 13 of those. I'm sharing my international airspace with the lovely Faye Swinton Berry, a seasoned and trusty travel companion, and rather joyfully for me, a purveyor of great belly laughs. In this episode we focus on hotel gripes, more specifically the top 5 gripes that my client-based friends and family have with hotels. They may be first world problems, but they still grind our gears. So let's flaunt some of the usual flight rules and get stuck in. Unfasten that seatbelt, recline that seat, crack open the duty free and enjoy. Hi, I'm Jo Shaler and I want you to go away. I jest, of course. I'm Jo Shaler. Welcome to my inaugural podcast. Because that's just what the world needs, right?
Yep.
Another podcast.
Two people chatting.
Two middle-aged old baggages chatting rubbish about travel. So without further ado, let me introduce my team and talk a little bit about why we're doing this. So this is Faye.
Hi there.
This is Faye. I've known Faye for 27 years. We have, it's fair to say, done a lot of travel together.
We have indeed.
And we often talk about our experiences, obviously, whilst we're lying on sunbeds or on planes or recovering somewhere.
On a sun lounger.
On a sun lounger, yeah, that's what I mean. So this is Faye. And Faye is really, well, she's my sidekick.
Yeah, and also a foil.
She's a foil.
I'm a foil.
She's a sidekick. She's quite funny. I'm hoping she'll make some of us laugh. We can laugh at her as well as with her. I'm Jo, as you know, I'm your travel agent. Over here in the corner where you can't see him is the mysterious Stephen Tarrant, who is our sound editor. So my lovely husband, in his previous life, was employed as a sound editor, and so he has all the gear. We have some kind of idea, so we thought, well, let's give it a go.
Yep.
We want to kind of talk about stuff. What we're not going to do, this is not going to be some boring, let's go to this destination and this is why you must go there and here's some pretty pictures. We're not going to do that. We're going to try and talk about things that you all want to talk about. So in the future, I'll be asking you to contribute to the podcast. So for today's inaugural transmission, we have decided to focus on something very close to the Brits' hearts. Yes. We do like a bit of a gripe, don't we?
Oh, I love a moan.
We do.
Yeah,
love a moan.
moan.
Now, you know, the point here is not to be negative. Faye and I, when we travel together, we are critical, and trust me, most of my clients are very critical as well, and quite rightly so. But we do acknowledge that most of what we're going to talk about is pretty much first world problems.
Yeah.
We're pretty privileged to be able to travel. We're privileged to be able to say, it's really annoying when this, that and the other happens at my 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
But we're going to do it anyway. So what I have some top 5, I have some top gripes.
Can we do da 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 da?
Is that supposed to be top of the pops?
Yeah. In at 5.
Yes. Okay, we'll do it that way. All right, so I'm not going to reveal the top 5, obviously, now. So we'll work from number 5 to number 1. Now, what I've also done is I've reached out to some of my nearest and dearest friends, family, clients, and I've really targeted them very well because I know the ones that are going to give me some full and frank feedback.
Yes.
And I've asked for their feedback too. So that has fed the statistics in terms of top 5.
Yeah.
Now there is a number 6, and it needs a mention. So we're going to kick off with number 6.
Number 6. What is number 6,
Number
Jo?
6 was very specifically British, really, I think, and it's tea and coffee facilities in room.
I love a cup of tea.
Yeah.
But I mean, can we elongate that as well to the kind of tea? Because
that's really what people's gripes are.
Lipton.
Yeah, no one wants Liptons.
No
one wants, well, not when I say no one, very few people are asking for mint tea, chamomile tea, menopausal tea,
anxiety
tea. They really want a good old supply of
English breakfast tea.
Which, and of course it's not I use the word normal kind of lightly, but not all countries have this culture of tea and coffee making in rooms.
No.
And what are your thoughts on UHT milk?
If it's not off, it's fine.
Well, the whole point of it being UHT, I guess, means that it's not off. No?
I have been to hotels and have experienced curdled UHT milk.
But you didn't book that trip with me, did you?
No.
No, you did
No,
not.
I know I didn't. No, I didn't.
No.
I'm trying to remember where
Yes.
I was. And it was in Great Britain.
Yeah, well, there we go. Oh,
Yeah.
God, that doesn't surprise me.
But it was because we had a 40-degree heat wave, and no one can. We
Okay.
can't fathom that, can we?
Well, that will lead us very nicely on to one of our later
Oh,
topics.
yes.
Well, that's actually number 5. Well, we haven't finished talking about tea and coffee yet, because a very good friend and colleague of mine, Sheila Sparks, I have to give her a shout out here, she's currently in Mauritius, so isn't able to contribute, but on checking in at a hotel,
Yeah.
check in,
Yeah.
right, I would like 20 English breakfast tea bags, and I would like 20 milks, and I want them now, before I go to my room.
So
And
she's sorted.
So she's sorts it all out on check-in.
Actually, I think I might have to take up on a bit of the sparkles there.
Yeah, and if it's a posh hotel, not that she frequents them, then she will ask for a jug of milk to be placed in the refrigerator. Yes. So she sorts it out from word go. She is not messing around.
No.
Now, this does actually lead us into our number 5 on the top 5 gripe list. And number 5 is climate control. We're calling it climate control. Aircon. Controversial subject, and
Yeah,
one
it is.
which was mentioned by almost everyone, because we were talking about curdled milk. Now, why is milk curdling if your room is adequately air conditioned?
The room wasn't adequately air conditioned, and it was the British summer a couple of years ago where we had 40 degrees, and I couldn't cope with it.
No, I actually do find British hotels, London, I'm looking at you, they are the worst for aircon. Now, and also if you travel to Europe out of season, which I quite often do because the tour operators like to send us overseas when it's low season.
Of course.
And actually, many of the so we're staying in the hotels when it's low season.
Yeah.
For them, they're all wearing jackets and
Yeah,
jumpers.
they're all scarf, hats, gloves.
Yeah, I'm in my room. I want 17 degrees in my room.
Yeah.
Cold.
Yeah.
I want a cold room.
I want a cold room. Woman of a certain age, I want a cold room.
I've always been a woman of a certain age. I have.
And
First thing
always
I
will
do.
be.
But then, oh my gosh, so is it Louise? Is it Louise that came up with? I've got a little list of everyone's feedback here. She hit it on the head. Where if you take you either open the door onto the balcony, aircon stops.
Yeah.
Or take your card out of the thing, aircon stops. So you're basically leaving your room and coming back to a sweaty hole.
Yeah, I have. I like it when hotels give you the 2 keys, because then you have one that's obviously the in and out, and then one to put in the aircon. And I remember many years ago, 20 odd years ago, in Australia, the guy who was kind of looking after this place, his recommendation was to take the card off the key fob to make sure it was permanently in.
Well, you can also use any credit card, obviously.
Of course you can.
Yeah, you can, or a Morrison's card. Other supermarkets are available. Waitrose.
Yeah.
Now, this kind of naturally leads us on to a bit of it's quite controversial, because the reason when you open the door the aircon goes off and when you take your card out is to protect the environment, stop wasting energy, and to save the world or the planet. I mean, I've just flown 5,000 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a song there? I have just flown 5,000 miles and...
No,
no,
there isn't. Not in this podcast, there isn't. So I've just flown 5,000 miles. My carbon footprint is the size of something very
South
large.
Africa.
South Africa. But no, these days hotels are, they're graded on sustainability.
Yeah.
They have to tick the sustainability
They
box.
do.
So whilst it is an annoyance to us all, and I mean so many of us, I think pretty much everyone. Hannah said lack of aircon or functioning aircon. Oh, some of these have made me laugh so much.
And also you've got to remember there's countries, like last year I went to Italy, to Milan, and they have different rules. So they set rules so that the aircon can only go to a certain point.
Yeah.
Which was actually quite high. I think it was 19 degrees.
So, do you mean as in high and warm or high and cold?
High and cold. So,
yeah,
so like you and I would like
enough.
17.
Yeah.
But they would only drop it down to 9 because obviously the colder it is, the more impact, the more more energy you're generating. Yeah. So different countries are, I guess, supporting their climate sustainability in different ways, and that is one way of doing it.
Yeah.
I want the room at 17 degrees.
I know. And I mean, is there a compromise, or do we? I mean, obviously fans. Those of you, fans. We take fans wherever we go, and I don't mean the kind that cheer us on. I mean fans which cool us down. And you'll have seen me many times on fan trips with a fan stuck down here. Yeah. I sleep with one in my face.
I mean, for that holiday to Italy, because I found out about the law there, I actually bought a portable freestanding fan so that I knew that I had a backup plan in the room. Yeah. Because I didn't want to be uncomfortable.
No, they are all the rage basically now. Yeah. They used to be a kind of a luxury, and now people don't travel without them. It's something they take with them everywhere. Yeah.
Well, leading on from the conversation about climate control is, well, in some instances, there is a solution.
Well, especially in the UK.
Yeah, and open a window.
Yes. In fact, we really are talking UK-based hotels, aren't we there?
Or Sweden.
Yeah,
Nordics.
Sweden, Nordics. What is it with hotel windows that don't open? Or they have a restricted open?
This much.
So I've got two theories. Obviously, one is, the three. One, stop people breaking in. Yeah. Well, if you're on the 16th floor, no worries.
There's another reason then it's the 16th floor. Yeah.
2 is to stop someone having an accident. Yeah. And 3 is to stop you having a sneaky fag out the window. But let me tell you,
I can still have a sneaky.
It does not stop me.
Still done it.
Not that I would ever do that.
No, never done that.
Any
never done
hotel that I would sell or recommend it or
never done
endorse
it with you.
It. But both Joe and Annie mentioned windows that don't open. With no aircon, boiling hot, and it's just having that kind of flow of air through there. So I think that was our number 5. So just to recap, we've had tea and coffee facilities, number 6, gripe. We've got aircon or climate control, which is inadequate or somehow is failing us, or non-existent,
or controlled externally. I mean, let's put the control into climate control.
Yes. They do in many hotels in Europe. It's as you say, the government have dictated that that's what people need to do sometimes. And then, do you want to do a bit of a top of the pops?
In at 4.
So, in at 4, this is one that both you and Steve, and actually pretty much everyone mentioned.
No, I can't remember what it is.
One size fits all, bathrobes and slippers. Bathrobes and slippers, one size fits all.
That's just, if you're going to do it properly, or don't do it at all.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because the bathrobes and slippers kind of come with a hotel of a certain level. Yeah. So you'd probably, you would expect it at 5-star hotel, possibly even 4-star. And, if it's 4-star, then it's just a pair of knackered slippers. Whatever. They don't come out the bag, do they? They stay in the little plastic thing. But if they're nice slippers, branded, it's not just us ladies. Well, in fact, let's not talk about it being ladies and men's size feet. Women and men have big feet or small feet.
I've got a size 9.
You're a size 9. I'm a size 8. Yeah. Steve's a size 12. Yeah. Ben is a size 11, and he says, I'm not going to do the accent, Ben. Man likes his fluffy slippers.
Right.
And what is it? He's from Manchester. But he's saying it like a Jamaican yardie.
That's what I thought.
But that's how he said it. I will read it to you verbatim if I have to. Okay. And also I really don't like being the insinuation that I might steal. a bathrobe?
Yeah.
If I'm staying in a hotel that merits a bathrobe...
Why would I steal the bathrobe?
How dare you?
Yeah, that's the bit...
And I can actually say that with a clean conscience.
Yeah, I can too.
Yeah, I have never stolen...
One of the reasons, though, is because they don't fit.
I need two and sew them together.
I have to put a sarong on underneath, otherwise I might as well not bother.
I know. I have seen.
Oh yes, we have.
It's in action.
It's in action.
I know. You would actually.
I wouldn't.
You would actually probably be arrested if you went out in a bathrobe. Steve equally, because Steve is 6'7".
Yeah.
And
he's wearing a mini dress.
He's basically wearing a mini dress, and if he was in the noddy underneath, he'd be in danger of exposing his dingly danglies. Well, that's what he says.
Yeah.
But it's a valid concern.
It is a valid concern.
6'7", tiny robe. Not that I have actually seen it all before, but
others might not have.
He shouldn't be. He need not go out in that robe.
No.
That's for sure. He's not really a robe man. He doesn't trust them. He doesn't trust them.
Well, no, because he doesn't trust them because they don't fit him.
No, that's right.
So if you're going to do it properly, and then the solution to that, because we talked about this the other week, is to have a robe menu. And if you're going to make the effort to have a robe, okay, there is a cost associated to the hotel, but wouldn't that be fantastic?
Well, it could be definitely implemented at the higher end.
Yeah.
And maybe it doesn't need to be can we not have a triple XL?
Yeah.
Which can be, both men and women.
Yeah.
They've got these big muscly guys these days. They've got bigger boobs than me.
Yeah. And also smaller women must hate it as well. They must feel drowned.
Oh, I like to feel drowned.
Yeah, well,
I'm big.
But I've never felt drowned because it's never happened.
No, it's not going to.
All the robes I get are for...
I'm going to need a bigger robe.
I'm going to need a bigger robe. They're all for 5'6" people.
Yes. 5'6", size 10.
Yeah. One size fits all.
One size doesn't fit all.
No.
So yeah, and again, I'm just stressing here. First world problems.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, that's true.
Please don't think we're sitting here, slagging off the fact that we've got fluffy robes and slippers, because we do love them. Don't stop doing it. I think we're leading up to.
Are we're going into top 3?
Yeah, we're going into top 3 now.
Ooh,
so,
da 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 da.
I wouldn't mind you doing that if you did it correctly.
Yeah.
Well,
why don't?
I don't know what that was.
That is so not right. I see what we could do. No. Maybe we should have the music put in by Steve, your sound technician, engineer, director.
We can at least do one of those.
One of them, so then we can know that we're both really wrong.
That's it.
In at 3.
In at 3. Oh, I like this one. I know everyone, and of course it's a sign of the times. Can you guess?
Done climate. We've done robes. Oh my God! Is it something to do with floating?
No, gosh, no. We'll talk about that later. That's a very niche gripe.
Oh, it's a niche gripe, okay.
It's a niche gripe by people that have been to the Maldives a lot. Okay. Which is very niche. Have you ever been to the Maldives? No.
No.
Number 3, inadequate or prehistoric plug sockets.
Oh!
Or the thoughtless placement thereof.
I'm getting a bit of a Dreyfus nervous twitch. I forgot.
So, this is a massive subject. So, hang on, put an anecdote in, yeah. Yeah, I will put an anecdote in. But basically the main gripe is, so Martin, he travels for work all the time, he does a lot of business travel.
Yeah.
So usually in these kind of big brand hotels you have a desk.
Yeah.
And some of them, they have these kind of pop-up plug portals, which are great, but they're often old. Sometimes they don't work. They don't have enough USB ports.
No, because you need at least cut 3 now, don't you?
Oh, you do. I take a plug board with me wherever I go because I've got one adapter, which is probably way over the other side of the room.
Yeah.
Totally the wrong place.
Yeah.
And then I've got, and then I can charge everything in it. So that's my solution for that.
Yeah.
But so many people talked about plugs. No plugs near bed does me in, says Bruce. And then we've got...
That was Springsteen, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't Bruce Springsteen. He's yet to
comment.
A client.
He's yet to comment.
He gets tagged a lot, but he doesn't ever comment. That was a really big gripe, and I think most hotels you'll find now when they're refurbing Because let's face it, it's a big job to remove old-fashioned plugs and put new ones in. But the great thing about having USB is that it's pretty much universal.
Yeah, exactly.
So, gone are the times where we're saying, oh, what plug adapter do I need to take? And looking it up and hoping that it's the best one.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And when you get them, they don't quite go in.
And
France,
you get, and you kind of get that spark.
Oh, I've never booked a hotel. I don't know about hotels that do that. I'd just like to say that right now. Those were our, that was number 3. Now there's really I suppose not much more to talk about on that subject, other than when hotels are refurbing, they tend to take out their plug sockets or they'll put USBs alongside.
I like the alongside. I like you can have the option of both. Yeah. That to me seems like a really good idea.
Be quite handy by the bed, wouldn't it?
Yeah, both sides.
Both sides, near the bed.
Near the bed. Yeah. Not so that your phone and alarm clock or whatever is over yonder. There. Yeah.
Or you've got 2, you can only charge one, or only have one phone next to your bed or whatever.
Yeah.
So okay, so note to hotels, just sort your plugs out. That's all. That's all we're asking. Lots of them. And in good places.
Yes, agreed.
Even if it means you have to tear the building down and rebuild it. Do it. Okay, so we're getting through. So what I'm going to do now, we're coming up to the top 2 very soon. But before I do that, now that's one of my tops. So Steve's got, I asked Steve what his gripes are, and he's
Mr. Tarrant.
Mr. Tarrant, my husband. He's got many. I mean, his whole life is one long gripe, really. But that's mainly because he's married to me.
You said that.
So safes which are not safe.
But none of them are safe.
Well, we had one particular example, and I'm going to show you a little picture here. And we were staying at a lovely hotel in Mauritius, beautiful, and we had a great safe in the cupboard.
Right.
But the word safe was a misnomer, because you could remove the safe with your hands and walk out of the door with it. And so I've just shown a picture there of Steve doing a runner
with the safe.
With the safe.
Brilliant.
So safes that aren't safe. Another one, and this is such a Steve thing, tipping. Mandatory tipping, and it wasn't just Steve, this one. A lot of the fellas
Which countries do mandatory tipping?
Oh, North America.
Oh, of course.
When I say mandatory tipping, I mean you're made to feel like it's mandatory.
Right.
So, for example, we arrive at Fairmont in Ottawa, and you pull into we pull into the hotel driveway. Yeah. Someone comes rushing out to, hello and thank you, and can I take your bags? Well, Steve, don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact. No, I'm carrying my bags, because he's totally fearful that he's going to have to tip.
Yeah.
But it's not because he's tight, it's because it's like, when does it stop?
Yeah, when does it stop?
So Bruce was saying, my good friend Bruce is saying, porters that want to help with my bags after I've managed to get it from home, metro, airport and taxi.
Yeah, across
the world.
The last meter isn't.
No, up to the room. I think I can manage that.
Yeah.
Now I know it's a service, and it's a service that the hotel provides, but it can be a little bit obsequious. Look it up, and it can actually, it's not the right time to start throwing money at people when you've just got off a 12-hour flight.
Yeah, no.
Right, well. We're nearly we're at the top 2.
Top 2.
But before we visit top 2,
okay,
I want to go over some other feedback that we've had from the various folk who were kind enough to contribute towards feedback.
Excellent.
So Melissa,
right,
cousin,
likes
her holidays a lot.
Yeah.
Her gripe is not enough hangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. But I'm going to say to you, Liz, too many clothes. That's probably what the case is, isn't it? Yeah. Now, then we've got the... I put the question out onto a friendship group.
Right.
So it was a big chat between several, and it escalated quite quickly.
As it does.
Yeah. And we ended up somehow getting onto the subject of the very divisive issue of towel art.
Sorry, what? What's that?
Towel art. So towel art is
Right.
whereby you come back to your room of an evening, or after the staff have made up your room, and they have created some magical design using towels.
Right.
And then there are actually schools where folk go to learn this.
No,
there are.
I've heard everything now.
The Maldives is a prime example of this. I mean, each hotel has like a competition.
Really?
Yeah, the towel art. Now, it's very divisive because I've got someone saying, so Martin saying, no, I don't want rose petals, etc. on my bed. And then we've got Rachel, who says if she doesn't have a swan waiting on her bed when she checks in or similar, she's not happy.
No.
And then this is where it escalated,
right?
Because the swan is obviously made of a towel. Joe then pipes up, if you want us to replace your swan, put it in the bath.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can reuse your swan.
And is the swan? And do you have to have the swan still as a swan, or are we putting it in as a towel? Okay,
I think by then some alcohol might have been involved in that conversation. I don't know. I'm not sure. And then we've got Beck. So this did make me giggle. So let's have a look. She's talking about. So Beck says, far and away, my number one gripe is a bad shower. I like water pressure that threatens to remove skin.
Yeah, you can't have a dribble. It's just not pleasant.
Anytime. In fact, the word dribble is not. It shouldn't be allowed
in with a shower.
No, and also filling bath. If you've got a bath, because Steve again, he loves a freebie. He sees a bath as an opportunity
to fill it with water. To
fill it with hot water because someone else is paying for it.
Right. Okay.
It mustn't take half an hour.
No.
Dribble again.
No,
please. Thank you very much. So there we've got a few examples. Now, where are we going with this? I think we might have to do our top two now.
That came round quick.
Yep. So top two, and as I'm sure we know, top two, we're talking about overly complex lighting systems.
I can't bear it. It on and off works.
Yeah.
So why do we need to have everything in the in between that? I mean, I want to turn off my light off in bed. I don't have to want to wait to get out of bed. I need to know where the light switches are.
Bruce did also say, he said he's not happy if he has to get out of bed to turn the light out.
Totally agree.
At which point I think I did call him a diva, but I did ask.
You
and
did.
He did, yeah.
I did.
But I get it. I want to be able to go to sleep, turn my light out here.
Yeah.
I have, when we go away on our family trips, we don't get time to settle into the hotel room or find our way around, and so quite often I'm flummoxed as to where the light switches are, how do I turn them off, and sometimes I've had to resort to just taking the electric key out. Yeah. So I've got no aircon.
That's not
good.
It's
pitch black, so I'm sweating. I can't see anything.
No.
And I'm then fumbling my way to bed, but needs must.
Yeah. No, true, but no. I don't understand why it has to be mood lighting.
Mood lighting. I'll bring my own mood, thanks very much.
Yeah, and just on off.
Do you remember that time in Marrakesh?
Yes, when I turned out the lights and then you nearly punched me in the face because I didn't know where I was and I was really close to you.
I just reached out.
Yeah, I did it in Thailand with Sid. We didn't know where the light switches were, so he was going down the stairs, turning them off at the bottom of the stairs, and then I had a little light on next to the bed because we didn't know how to turn the lights on
for me.
And he came running up the stairs, and it wasn't until the last day it was behind us to switch the whole lot off.
Oh no!
Yeah, so when they do drop off your bags and bring your bags up to the room, the one thing I think I would like is a guided tour of
how
the lighting.
How does the light system work?
Yeah,
I'd like it in writing.
Yeah,
I'd like diagrams.
A
pamphlet, old-fashioned.
Yeah.
This is how that works. Now that made me think about something else then, but it's gone immediately out of my brain, of course. So lights. I know what it was. Do you remember that hotel I stayed in London? And I actually sent a video of the light system.
Oh yeah, that was
it was brilliant.
It was a good one.
It was a little box right next to the bed.
Yeah.
And it was something like bathroom, living room, on, off. The end. And off.
It was off.
Off. Everything was off.
Brilliant.
There was no like dim light.
In between.
Yeah. And actually, talking of lights, I've remembered a real bugbear of a very dear colleague of mine, Sarah, Lady A.
Lady A, yes.
And her bugbear is laser sharp lights caused by, like, you know, the light on an aircon unit on the wall.
Yeah, so
or the coffee machine,
yeah.
bright blue light.
Yeah.
And you basically, I've just turned all the lights off.
And you've still got
Why is there a neon green light shining over there?
Totally agree.
Yeah. I don't get that.
No, I don't get that.
Now, I know that they have to show where the exits are. So, you know, sometimes you have that green glow, don't you? There's the exit. But I do remember her telling me, and again, it's my favourite hotel brand in Mauritius. We all know who that is. It's Beachcomber. And Lady A was staying at one of the only 8 hotels in Mauritius, the very, very best one, Royal Palm. And she just happened to mention in passing that this laser light was annoying her. You know, it doesn't annoy everyone. No. It's not a fault of the hotel. It has to be there. Anyway, when she came back to her room that evening, they had constructed a little cover to put over the top of that.
That's thoughtful.
That is a hotel that I want to stay at.
That's proactive feedback, isn't it?
Yeah,
here's some feedback. Let me act on it and do something about it.
I mean, knowing Sarah, she will have done it very nicely as well, and she certainly wouldn't have expected them to construct a cover for it. But I think that's a super idea.
That's a great idea.
And possibly a good use of, for example, you know those blimmin' awful shower caps that you get? I mean, there's a whole podcast associated with that.
What, the accessories?
Yeah, the accessory bits and bobs. No, can't go there.
Not yet.
No, but you could modify a shower cap.
Yeah.
Put a sock inside it.
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah.
Top tip. You heard it here first. Okay, so... That was number 2.
Right.
And
it's number 1.
What? Yeah, what is number 1?
I'm pretending I don't, but I do.
You do, don't you?
I do. They did it.
And it's because it's the biggest gripe, and it's quite rightly the biggest gripe.
Yeah.
And drum roll.
Yeah.
Okay. Bored and disinterested staff on reception on arrival.
Oh, we've had it so many times. I can't believe it's allowed. I can't believe it's allowed to happen.
But so many people fed back about this. So it's not us being particularly critical or grumpy. I mean, do you remember that time when we went to Marrakesh? The guy on the desk was just the grumpiest person, and I told him, I invited him to give me a smile. I think, didn't I?
Yeah, you did, and in French.
In French, I think it was in French. Because it kind of took the edge off. Did it with a smile myself, but he wasn't happy, and he said, "I've had a very bad day," and I said, "Well, I said, I'm sorry, you have had a bad day, but this is your job."
Yeah.
It actually ties into some other feedback I had from a client, Hannah, who talked about hotels knowing that you are a repeat guest.
Right.
You know that she wants, if she's been there 3 times, if you've got a really good travel agent, then that travel agent will let the hotel know. Now, it can still go wrong though, because I'll be honest with you, Hannah did say that, in fact, she's been back to this hotel, which I've booked for her, and they don't always acknowledge that she's a repeat client. Yeah,
it's nice to feel like that. It's nice to feel that you're consistent. You're a customer. You're a consistent customer. I mean, like we did when we went to Marrakesh last weekend.
Yeah.
At La Mounia.
La Mamounia.
La Mamounia.
Are you making up new words?
Yes.
Did you call it La Mounia?
No, La Mamounia. Like
La Mamounia. Yeah, I just want to get that straight. Yeah. It's not La Mounia.
Yeah. La Mamounia.
Yeah. All right, so exactly.
Yeah.
We went for the first time last year. I mean, it was a brilliant experience.
Lovely experience. So much so we wanted to go again.
Yeah. And as soon as we walked in, I know we don't exactly, we're not shy and retiring flowers, are we? Wallflowers. But they knew us, they recognised us, and they gave us the best welcome. They gave us loads of free champagne, which was super. But actually, the biggest bonus was just feeling like we were welcomed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was reciprocal because we recognised them as well.
Yeah, that's it.
So it was like having lunch with friends.
Yeah, best friends forever now.
Yeah.
BFFs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We've got all their numbers.
So lovely. So okay, what other feedback associated with arrival? You know, Nick was saying and he travels a lot to the Maldives. I say travels a lot to the Maldives. You probably hate me saying that. He goes to the Maldives, and so the point of me saying that is that you have to arrive by speedboat or by seaplane, and so they know when you're arriving. There's no like, woo, surprise, we're here.
Yeah.
No, not unless you've parachuted in.
Right.
So they know when you're arriving. You're arriving after the official check-in. Why isn't your room ready? Why are you spending? And then Bruce piped in. Well, what are they doing at the computer when you've booked online or with your travel agent?
Yeah.
You've all passports over. What are you doing?
Can we ask someone in the industry? What do you do?
What are you doing?
What are you doing here?
Because it doesn't need to take that long. It really doesn't. Beep. Here's your key. There's your room. Up you go.
Yeah.
So yes, but service in general, especially on reception, including the name. Yeah. Reception.
Yeah. And it's a first impression. You're representing the brand. You're the face, the first face of the brand.
Yeah, that's it.
So
that's it. And Joanna, who is one of my worked with Joanna for years, she thinks she's really fussy, but actually she's just the same as you and I, basically. And she was saying her worst bugbear is, so obviously first impressions at reception.
Yeah.
But then you arrive in your room and it looks nothing like the room that you've seen on the website.
Oh God.
And so it's a massive disappointment. It's the worst way to start your stay is when your expectations are here and that's there. And that, for me, can actually be, preempted by good service and a nice welcome.
Yeah.
Couldn't it?
Yeah.
So there we have it. Those are our top 5 gripes. I'm just going to... We had at number 6, just kind of... It's just leaving the charts. Yeah, edging in there. Was coffee and tea making facilities in the room, various subjects around that. Then we had inadequate climate control, aircon, sensitive subject, divisive, right on, etc. One size fits all bathrobes and slippers.
Yeah, I think that was
trigger.
Yeah, massive trigger.
Huge trigger for pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
Then at number 3 we had our inadequate or prehistoric plugs or badly placement thereof.
Or no placement at all.
No placement at all. Number 2, overly complex lighting systems. That reminds me, Ben was saying exactly the same thing. Colleague of mine, as soon as I emailed him, he was reminded of the horrors of a trauma of a hotel where he just literally could not work out how to turn the lights off.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
I mean, he was calling down to reception, how do I turn the lights off in my room?
Yeah.
They give themselves work by doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then at number 1, and I don't think this will move, is bored, disinterested staff on reception, and the clue is in the name, it's reception.
Yeah.
Now, before we sign off, I do want to reference my lovely friend Nick, he's the guy who goes to the Maldives. Not a lot, every year,
A lot.
And now this really is a first world problem,
right?
Because and I'm not going to swear. I'll amend it slightly. But Nick's a very mild-mannered chap.
Right.
Not usually given to foul language.
Right.
But he was severely triggered by my email, and his response was, I said, what triggers you? What gripes you have? He cannot stand floating effing breakfasts.
Sorry, what? I don't even know what is that.
Well, that's funny you should say that, because when I first came across floating breakfasts years ago, they were a big thing in the Maldives. I didn't know that years ago either. And for me, a floating breakfast, sorry to be a bit gross here, it's like you've been out the night before, you've drunk too much, you've woken up, you're having a big conversation on the big white telephone.
You're talking to God down the big white telephone.
And you've got a floating breakfast.
That's where I am.
No.
Right, okay.
So believe it or not, that is not what people are looking for from a hotel.
In the Maldives.
Now this ties in with his hatred, that's a strong word, isn't it? His dislike of vloggers / Instagrammers.
Right.
And usually it's like with the booty shot, a bit of a, woo!
What?
Oh,
here's this, and here's my floating breakfast.
Exactly. So I think the whole floating breakfast is a big Instagram thing.
I
haven't told you what it is, have I?
No, talk me through it.
It's basically a big tray. It can be the size of this table. It floats.
How big's the pool?
I mean, the pool, well, hopefully it's quite adequate. I mean, even if it's a plunge pool, it would fill the pool.
Right.
And on your tray is your breakfast. So it'd be coffee, orange juice, croissants, eggs, how you like them.
That doesn't work. That's revolting on so many levels. What if the food goes into the pool?
I know.
And then what's going to be hot and what's going to be cold?
Well, you're going to get cold eggs, aren't you? So, I mean, but it's an aspirational thing, different strokes, different folks. It just made me giggle so much that Nick...
It was strong.
It was his number one gripe, floating effing breakfasts. So it definitely deserves its own mention. And thank you very much for that feedback. Now, if you haven't had enough already of two 50-something baggages discussing travel and chit-chatting about things in general, then I'm sorry to say there is more to come. You're already watching this somehow, but you can watch it on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. And I'm going to be reaching out to you to see what you'd like to talk about, or message me, or email me. What kind of subjects would you like Faye and I to discuss? Would you like us to get anyone else involved? Not Bruce Springsteen.
I'd like Bruce Springsteen.
He's busy. But this, I hope we haven't bored you to death. But here is the end. And I should have said, this is Bert, by the way. He's my little boy. But that's a big thank you from me, Joe. I don't really want you to go away. And
goodbye.
My lovely friend Faye. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much for listening to I Want You to Go Away, a podcast that can only improve with time. Hotel gripes. It's a subject that keeps on giving. If you've got a gripe that wasn't mentioned during the show, then I'd love to hear it. Sharing is after all caring. If you enjoyed listening to the sound of my voice as much as I do, then you'll be pleased to hear that there's more to come. And if you'd like me to air your views in my next episode, drop me a line at joeshaylerholidays.com and I'll be in touch with some searching questions for you. Massive thanks to Holly Ty of Ty Wrights, Danny Sperling at Minty Highway, Steve Tarrant, and most of all to Faye Swinton-Berry, without whom I'd be a lone voice of reason in a travel world full of madness. Vegetable rights and peace to all. Now please, go away.